All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Indy.js for March. Don't have much in the way of announcements. I guess there are 2 announcements, but they're at the end, including a giveaway, so you should definitely stick around for the giveaway. Still haven't figured out how we're going to give it away yet, but we'll see. Let's see, next month, Hi is going to be presenting. After that, it's open, so if you have anything you want to present, let me know. Send me a message on Meetup. We're excited to have whatever you guys have to talk about. So that's all I got. So John, go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming out today. Thank you all my friends that are here, all 3 of them. I am going to be giving a presentation today on creating an artificially intelligent chatbot with Node.js. I'm going to be walking in front of the projector and getting blinded a lot apparently as part of the presentation as well. So I'm going to keep it really basic. I was going to do a presentation, but I'm guaranteeing nobody gets really excited about PowerPoint slides. So I'm going to actually just sit and code the majority of this presentation. I love people interrupting and asking questions. A little knowledge about myself. I am the principal engineer at a place called Axia Technology Partners. We are a software company based over on Ohio and Delaware in the tall gold building that blinds you when you drive on the street. So that's where I've worked for 8.5 years. We don't actually use Node.js. We are considering using it in a refactor. I decided in my infinite wisdom to create a PowerPoint on a language I've never written in, or create a project in a language I've never written in. Why not learn it for the presentation? So this will be one of my first bigger projects in Node. So like if there's glaring issues, bring them up. I'd love to learn. I think everybody'd love to learn if I've got, wrong code up here, but I think I've done an all right job of learning a little bit. So couple cool things. If you are newer to the JavaScript Society, as in you are not that experienced, I have all the code that I'm writing and showing up online in a GitHub account. I have a walkthrough that I will pass out at the end of this presentation, a 16-page guide that will literally guide you through every single thing I am doing up here today. And I'm actually going to grab one of those. That's why I actually created the doc in the initial place, so I had something to follow. So as a result, you can grab one of these on your way out. It will give you information on how to get into my get onto my GitHub account, and it will give you all of the elements of what we're using. Today's stack will involve using Node. Primarily for the development side, I will be using something called API.ai, which is Google's natural language algorithm detector. It's their artificial intelligence stuff. API.ai was created outside of Google, and then Google acquired them last year for a massive amount of money, so I'm sure they're stoked. So that's good news. But API.ai will be the big piece there, and then I will be integrating it into Slack. Show of hands, who here uses actually Slack? Awesome. So what you can do is you can go home after this, create a meme bot, drop it in your corporate chat like I did, which was a huge mistake, and everybody can create memes, which is a fantastic way to stress test your application, by the way. I dropped it into my engineering chat and let all the engineers absolutely annihilate it. I see one of them right here laughing because he broke it in about a matter of 30 seconds. But that's part of the process. That's part of artificial intelligence. The thing about it is it's more machine learning than AI, meaning that you're actually going to be teaching it as you go. I hope we can actually run it against a chat that breaks it. That's the best part about AI is you've got to teach it. It's not going to automatically be the most intelligent thing in the world. So to start off, I'm going to actually run us through 7 different steps. I've broken down my code on my GitHub account into 7 steps, each one with tasks to complete. Meaning that you can start with the basic step 1. There are 2 tasks to complete in each individual JavaScript file. I encourage you to go into that file, try and challenge yourself to complete it, but then there is a preceding step that will actually have the solutions. So if you're newer into JavaScript or newer into the nodes groups, this is a really cool example for you to learn. Hopefully what is proper node code, but that is a best shot, best effort. Like I said, interrupt any questions. I love questions. I love actually being able to answer them. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fire up. I can see that probably nobody can visually see this, so let's make the screen absolutely huge. I should do that real quick. Any recommendations here to make this a better? Any Mac users that know what they're actually doing? Can you guys see it well with the code? It's my problem. Command plus? Oh, sweet. That is what we wanted to see. All right, cool. So I actually have a server up in AWS, slackbot.jjrn.com. Is going to be doing a lot of my magic. I did that. Yes. Yes. It is actually password 1. So that is with a 0 instead of an O. So yeah, very, and it has the @ sign, so it's got both of them. So I'm running this on what? What was that? All right, cool. So we're going to create a whole new project here. So to start off, I'm going to actually stop that infinitely fun loop. I'm going to skip and assume that everybody knows how to install Node. If you don't know how to install Node, this neat little guide will tell you how to install Node. But for our project, we're going to actually need a few Node packages. API AI is one of them. API AI is actually, let's actually install API.ai instead of just ruthlessly run at it. API.ai is a cool package that it actually takes a lot of the intelligence away from you, as far as you don't have to be like super smart to work with it. The other one is going to be Slackbots, and the final one is Request. And I gotta actually install them. So once these all get fired up, so Slackbots is a super cool Node package. What I'm going to do is be using a lot of it, but you don't even have to use the artificial intelligence element. You can actually just monitor chat. You can actually post random posts that you want. You get full control into your current Slack message. So imagine it was like a presence indicator for Slack. You can actually tie that presence live and actually follow along in your Slack. So a cool project that we did internally at our company is I wrote a little bot that you can talk to and ask status on a Jira ticket, for instance. You can say, hey, Axia bot, what's the status of, cur-22, and it'll output the status of all the information there live. Yes, there is Jira as a plugin. I'm aware after the fact that I wrote that bot. So what I'm going to do is actually first we need to create the Slack bot. I've got my own personal Slack channel with my neat little dude there. We're going to create a new channel called Indy.js. Your own channel. I've got no friends in this Slack, so nobody will be joining us. By the way, last time we were here, I did tell you guys this was going to be interactive. I apologize. I could not get the interactive element that I wanted. So get over it. So what I'm going to do is actually jump in. We're going to integrate a new Slack bot. So we're going to actually come in here. All of these links, once again, are in this neat little packet, so you can certainly walk along. I'm going to create my bot. I think we already have a meme bot, so let's delete him. And by the way, you are going to see all these little API tokens. Feel free to ruin my presentation, go in there and do everything you want with it, but that would not be nice. So we're going to create meme bot. We need to get his actual API authentication token. And we've already created him. So we're going to be creating memebot 2, which I think we've created him. We're going to do memebot 3, third and final best memebot. So the reason we need to do that is that the Slackbots integration takes this API token and makes everything really super simple. So we're going to copy all of that. We're going to take this code. I'm going to, instead of doing a checkout, I've actually got the actual code that we need into the meme bot packaged JS into here. So now we have all our code. It's just like that, and we're actually done with the presentation. That was really, really super simple. I decided instead of writing it live, I'm going to actually break it down into the actual steps so that we can walk through. But when you get into this code, it's like crazy commented. I promise this is not what my code looks like at the office. It was the people would love me, but I cannot take this many comments on a typical code. So every single line of code is actually commented. Every single line. Sometimes there's like 4 lines of comments per code. So to start off, we've got requests, which if you're familiar with NPM, it's just so that we can do some requests later. I'm actually going to use something called meme generator. I guess I should have started with this. We're writing a meme bot, by the way, guys. So we're actually writing a bot that you can jump in and do cool memes with. We have a meme for that. I will make a meme for you for that, actually. So give me 30 minutes and we will be there. I figured everybody loves memes. Who doesn't love memes? Hands up. Easy answer. This guy hates memes. I've got API AI, which is the thing that will actually interact. Variables, which is a hidden variables file because I don't want you guys seeing all of my stuff. But since we copied it over here, we're actually going to be able to, I copied it earlier, we're going to actually be able to put our Slackbot key. So this is actually going to make it to where all you have to do is fill out these variables. You could actually skip straight to step 7, but that would put us 45 minutes short of the presentation. So what we're going to do now is we should be able to begin the process. I can run step 1. It should not run correctly because there is no AI key. Actually, we don't do that yet. But what you can see here, step 1 is actually just the Slack interaction. So you can see all the live presence things that are happening in Slack. If I came in here, I can invite meme bot 2 into the channel. I can say hello, and you can see that you actually have the presence changes, the live data. Memebot 3, thank you guys. I would have sat here for a minute. So let's invite Memebot 3 into our channel. And now I can say, you know, hello, how's it going? And we have that presence information. The chatbots are super cool because if you think about it and you start kind of extrapolating where we're at, now you have a live presence on your chat that's going on. So you can identify people asking information on tickets. You can control how many people are saying certain things. All this information is live and presence and really awesome. So there's an insane amount of message data coming across. We're going to target just the messages for today so that we can follow the messaging going back between the AI bot and the other information. So let me hide that. What we're going to do now is move into something called API.ai. This is powered by Google, so I'm a big fan of it. For the sake of Ori here, there's also a really good Microsoft Cognitive Services version of it, but they like to charge. API.ai is all free, and in 2 months they're releasing an entire suite of interactions in API where they will automatically program things for you for free, like weather, traffic, general information, statistics that will actually power. So when I get in the application, you'll see. I'm going to log in here. We're going to skip the setup process because that's pretty simple. Create a new meme bot, V6. You can create your agent types as public and private. They have a public repository of everybody's bots if you choose to make them public. So you can search through all the cool bots that people have already written. API.ai is not directly only for Slack. You could use API.ai if you wanted to do text messaging back and forth. If you had your own customer support channel that you wanted to create a chatbot in, it is not only for Slack. So it's really cool. Memebot will distract coworkers with pointless memes. And that is the point of Memebot, is to really distract your coworkers, right? So walking through this, there are a few entities on the left: the intents, the entities, the domains, the training, and the integrations and fulfillment. Intents are things that you want to create an intent on, as in, I say hello, Memebot says hello back. I say a greeting is more a better way to go about that, and Memebot knows it's a greeting. It starts learning what greetings are. I say goodbye, I say adios, I say all these things. It starts learning what exits are. So you can see default, there is a fallback and a welcome intent. I can see that's very small. There we go. So these are some default intents that are going to be part of the package. We're going to nuke those immediately, but we're going to come in here and grab our client access token back into the variables file we were at earlier. We are going to paste that actual code. And what we now have is API.ai integrated and Slackbot integrated. And all you have to do is copy those 2 lines into there. Like I said, this code is up on GitHub. So at this point, you could literally start any project you wanted right out of this lines of code. Moving forward here, I'm really glad I made this guide. We've already done this step, around step 1. After we've set up that, we're gonna actually come in here into step 2. To give you an idea of step 1, we'll run through it. Step 1, we've got a creation of API AI. We've got the variables, a global.user status. I'm sure globals are terrible at Node, but for the sense of this project, we're gonna use them. This is creating the new API AI element, and the bot parameters, the token, the name, Slack parameters. It's really cool. There's like a million different Slack parameters. We're gonna use the octopus emoji because why not? And then we're gonna actually have to make one change in here. We notice the Slack real name is memebot. So for step 2, we're actually gonna have to come in here and name it memebot3. So what that does is my code will automatically detect the bot parameters. The reason you need to know the bot parameters are for interesting things like infinite loops, where the bot starts talking to itself over and over and over and over and over. Because it gets a greeting, and then it's like, hey, there's a greeting, here's another greeting, and there's another greeting. So it'll just constantly do that. So that's not really fun and non-intuitive and not really useful. A couple other things we're doing in our code is the bot.onStart, the bot.onMessage, and the bot.onClose are 3 elements in the Slack bots integration. Bot.onStart, what I did is I did a get channels and a get groups. I'm really frustrated with Slack for doing this. They've actually created 2 completely different entities. They're not all just channels. They're not all groups. Locked ones are called groups. Open public channels are called channels. They have completely distinct IDs. I don't know why they created them as 2 separate entities. It makes no sense to me, really. It creates a hassle, but as a result, we need to store the channels and the groups into 2 separate entities, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to know where to post. So it's actually gonna check down the line. It's gonna say, hey, this is part of the channels, this is part of the groups, and it's gonna make sure that it's not undefined. So it's just a nuance that I had to get through. I think the Slack bots NPM could actually handle that for us, but we write a little neat program later that will, or neat little function later that'll take care of it. Next element here is it's actually gonna go through and get all the users. This is important because we wanna create a unique conversation per user. We don't want Bob starting a conversation, then Bill coming in midway through and terrorizing his meme. So we want to make sure that each individual session is unique. So we create and store all the user information. And I'll get a little bit more into that. And then right here, this is actually where I was talking about on the real name. We want to store the bot parameters to stop the infinite loops. So we check to make sure the bot's not talking. And then here's just a nice little thing that will say we can't find your bot. So if you are doing something incorrect, this will take care of it for you. And that's where we're at right now. Like I said, each different step has tasks that I've asked you guys to give it a shot. Like I said, I took this from the approach of a noob and Node like myself. 5 days ago is when I started writing this. So that is procrastination in a nutshell. But like I said, it gives you different little tasks to try and take on. And I think that they're good if you're a newer person. I know that there's some people here that I invited that are newer that would really enjoy to try and challenge themselves. So inside of that, we've actually are going to say that our task 3 was to identify only messages that are typed and remove all the presence clutter, and then to do a request with API.ai and see what actually happens. So far, are we good? Any other questions? I'm running pretty well on time, but awesome. Silence is the best answer to that question. I was gonna actually like bring a bowl of candy and like everybody that interacted, I was gonna like Pavlov you guys into asking questions, but.
Basically, you're running a server right now, or you could run a server with this that is gonna basically just log kind of what's happening in Slack. So that you can say, okay, maybe with my next step, I would like forward that to this meme place, or maybe respond with something witty or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So the presence is really endless, honestly. I mean, you could use it, for instance, if you wanted to build an integration into an app that you're currently part of. Imagine you're Salesforce and you want to build a Slack integration and you want to say, hey, when a user becomes active in Slack, they can do certain interactions that they can't do in Salesforce. You get the user presence when they sign in, when they go on Do Not Disturb. Imagine you're Microsoft and you want to build an Outlook integration. During calendars, you could automatically set Slack as do not disturb and actually make that action happen. So there is really a long list of things presence-wise and typing-wise that you can do. And the list is kind of really cool when you start to take your business and start to extrapolate how that might help you. So what we're going to do is we're going to magically make both these tasks happen by moving on to step 3. Thank you for the question. Sorry, I don't have candy. Everything up here is the same, so I'm not going to run us through the same thing over and over because that's boring. But the difference here is at this point, you can see that the bot on message now has 6 new lines of code. I am checking to make sure that the data username of the messenger is not the bot. That is our infinite loop stopper at the very top. Right here, this will stop us from infinitely looping. Because Slackbots doesn't actually support just presence on a single individual user or group of users. I think that'd be another great addition, but it doesn't today. This is going to stop all the clutter. You saw earlier people joining a channel, people leaving a channel, people going on do not disturb. This is going to only look for messages in the actual channel. And then the last thing is we're going to make sure that the data user is an actual string. So there are some weird entities that actually happen. This actually just cleans a lot of the junk. There's some weird fringe cases that took care of that. And then this is a neat little line of code that's commented out, but actually it will look for the bot ID. And when you say, hey, for instance, if I come in here, let's fire up node step3.js. By the way, there's all our bot information live in there. If I come into here and not pull up Microsoft Outlook, I say, hey, at Slackbot, you can now see that it will say, a at you Slackbot. Or if I say, hey, no, wrong instance. Hey, at Alex Goodman, somebody that's not in there, you'll see that that's their unique ID. So what this actual code here does is make sure to replace that before we send it to the API.ai. Because if you send bracket @ random gibberish bracket to API.ai, it is going to say, what is this? There is actually a way to tackle an API.ai, but for the sense of time, I'm going to just knock it out right here. So if you turn on and off that code, what it'll do is it will only look for messages that include @memebot3. So if you don't want every message being listened for interaction, you could actually include that line of code and you would only get a @memebot3. So that's a nice little piece. Moving forward, task 5, we want to actually send the request to API.ai and get its response back. So if I cat step 5, you will actually see that I have built a global respond. This is the thing I was talking about earlier where there's like groups and channels and you have to actually differentiate the two because Slack really kind of sucked on doing that. This is where it takes care of that. So it makes sure that the channel's defined and posted in a channel. And if it's not undefined, then it posts it in the group. So it's just a way to make sure that you're responding in the right group. A few other lines is we're actually here is as simple as it gets for an AI request to API.ai. Data.text, so if I say hello, it's going to send hello to artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is going to respond back. So we actually get the request on response, and then we have the response speech, and I will show you how that works. So let's do a node step5.js. Hello, and he says one more time. How's it going? By the way, this is something I haven't gotten over. It does load the last 5 messages that have happened before. So sometimes it will actually preload things that were said. So that's why he said one more time because he was confused. But the default intents earlier there is why he's saying, hey, make me a meme. He has no idea what's going on because we've not trained him anything. Hello. Wow, you're terrible. All these things, he has no idea that we're insulting him at all. We could build intents for insults so that he knew we were insulting him, but that would be mean. So we're not going to build these intents for the robots. So it's really cool. He's going to interact now. That magic is actually happening here at step5.js on this response. So we're taking his response speech, which is response.fulfillment.speech. We can actually look at all the cool stuff that he does to response. So we can actually look at everything that it gives back, which is pretty cool. And you can see that it is a huge object. It's going to give you ID, it's going to give you time stack, it's going to give you information on webhooks used. There's a cool thing down here. The most of the information is called fulfillment. And you're going to see it as a score of 1, meaning it knows it was something that it doesn't know. So it has a 100% score of knowing that it doesn't know something. So that's pretty straightforward. You can see the action is input unknown. What we're going to do is actually now start to create some actions so that he is a little bit smarter. We will not build the insult action because once again, that is rude. So we're going to move forward here. Like I said, handy guide, I'm even following it. Glad I made it, but you'll be able to get it after the end of this. The task before we move on to step 6 is make our bot more intelligent. So I'm going to get into the API.ai panel and show you some of that magic. And then we're going to build handlers to retain the information from intent to intent. So this is a huge step. So first we're going to go into our AI, make them a little bit smarter. We're going to actually eliminate the intents that he already has. So if I come in here and I delete this intent and I delete that intent and I fire up node step 5 again and I say hello, he says nothing because he has nothing to even do at this point. He's completely lost. He has no idea what's going on. It was a 200, but it had no context. It had no data. It has no idea. So what we're going to want to do is actually create an intent. Like I said, an intent is just something that it starts to intuitively learn. If you want to create an intent that is not machine learning and intelligent, maybe there's exact phrases you want to build into it. You can come up in the top right and disable machine learning. But the machine learning is the cool part of it, so don't know why you do that. Can come into the user says, so the first thing we need to do to make a meme is to what? We need to ask him how to make a meme. I was hoping we had like a whole crowd say that, but we're gonna just put some cool, just some things like create a meme, memeify me captain, everything. Hey, let's make a new meme. All we're doing right now is we're training it. We're just giving it different ways that people might say that they want a meme.
I have a question about this part.
Yes.
Could you do something with regex? So it's just searching for make or meme and like getting the rest of it out because it's doing an exact match on these phrases?
No. So this is actually, the cool part about it is based off of all these phrases, it is looking for elements of the phrase that help it intelligent. So if down the road I say something absolutely bizarre, maybe I say it in Spanish, blah, 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 meme. That was really, I'm sorry, that was horrible. That I am so sorry, actually. That was really rude. It would actually start to like inherently learn these things. The training module over there is when you don't get a response, you go in there and you say, hey, this was supposed to be that response. And you keep training it as it goes. I hope that wasn't recorded. That's going to be awesome. Cool. So we're going to start that meme up. At the bottom, we're going to actually, we can put multiple elements that we want him to say back. So this part isn't artificial. I could say, cool, let's start a meme. A meme. What kind of meme? Because that is the next thing we'd want to know. What kind of meme do you want to actually create? Do you want to create a dog, a velociraptor, a barista hipster? We need to know these things. These are important elements. We need to know if you want a hipster. So there are some cool things down here. You can do text responses, images, cards, quick replies, custom payload. So cards are things that are part of Slack, and it's part of a couple other things. Microsoft Service Teams support some of these things. But right now, we're just going to do a very basic text response. So at that point, we've intent saved. Because there's not a lot of data, it's not having to crunch. It's already rebuilt the AI, but this little wheel will spin once we start getting a little bit more advanced. I should be able to start up node step 5 and say, hey, I want a meme. And Slackbot has nothing to say because it did not match on one of the things I say. But if I say something exact, it should say something back. There we go. So, hey, I want a meme. It didn't match that. That was what you were kind of asking, right? It's not looking for just meme. I can go into the training, come into here. I can say, hey, I want a meme. Make sure that it did not have a confidence level. We actually set confidence thresholds. It thought it was meme start, but it was below the 50% threshold. You can tweak that. I just tell it, hey, you were right. And now next time I say, hey, I want a meme, let's check it. Don't even have to restart the app. Hey, I want a meme. Memebot knows now, hey, I want a meme. I could also say memeify me captain. Hey, I want a meme. All sort of things. It's starting to learn. So the more content you throw at it, which is why I threw it at the engineering squad and they destroyed it, is the better it is, honestly, because it has to learn. It's machine learning. It's not like some crazy intelligent being. So what we want to do is we want to take that intent that we know now, the AI bot knows now that we want to create a meme. We're going to take that intent, and what we're going to do is build a context on it. So up here at the beginning, there's a group called contexts, input, output. So only contexts are hit. So yes.
So get that threshold, get that 40%. You then follow up with another question and reinforce the
Absolutely, yes. There's something called fallback intents in the API AI. In the guide, it shows you how to do it. There's a lot of advanced stuff we won't be able to hit within the time frame, but there are fallback intents that say, hey, nothing matched. Let's ask it again, or try to phrase it in the right route. So what we're going to do is, did that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. What he was asking is if it didn't match, we could actually put a fallback intent that it will default on the match. So after this, at this point, we know we want to get the meme type. So we're going to create an output context. That 5 is the lifespan. That means that it will last for 5 requests before it gives up. So I could say, I could say dog, doge, velociraptor. I could say a lot of different things. And if it matches and fails 5 times, it will stop looking in this context. So that's a really neat way. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something. Now that we're in the meme type, we're going to want to create a new intent called meme type. It doesn't have to be called the exact same thing, but I think it's easier. We can take the input context to meme type. That means while we're in the meme type context, we're kind of cascading down the line now. So that meme start context goes away. The meme type context is now ruling. So it's looking at all the intents with the meme type. What I'm going to do is once we actually match it, we're going to make that stop and then move on to something called meme top line. Because at that next step, we want to get the actual top line of the meme, and then we need the bottom line, and we need to actually make the meme. So we're going to say, hey, I want a Doge meme, or I would love a barista meme, or let's make a Velociraptor meme. And then we can do something simple like Doge meme. That way you can just say what you want and then the word meme afterwards. So we're going to save that. Now, you don't have to restart it. The cool thing is, by the way, and I haven't talked about this, everything I'm doing in the intents panel and all these things can actually be done via API. So you can actually make these intents live in the back end. So if you have some application plugged into it, you can actually hook into the API AI, do an AI call, and create training on your own schedule. So you don't actually have to come into an application. Cool thing is now I should say, hey, I want a meme. You should say, cool, what type of meme? I should be able to say dog meme. I didn't actually put a response, so let's put a response. Well, awesome. What's the top? Now, there's going to be a scientific study that proves when you type and people are watching, you cannot type anymore. I think everybody's had that situation where somebody's been sitting behind them and they can't type their password correctly. So, hey, I want a meme. Because we cleared the context. He actually did hit, but he didn't respond because we didn't have a response. I'm going to say, hey, dog meme. Awesome. What's the top line of the meme? So what we're doing is we're cascading through the intents. For the actual presentation today, we're going to have 4 intents. It's going to be, hey, I want to start a meme, this type of meme. What's the top line? What's the bottom line? Generate the meme. So very simple. Up in my GitHub, I actually have a meme bot that has like 50 different intents, that has fallback intents, and it has things where you can do one-liners. You can say, hey, I want a dog meme with the top line of this and the bottom line of this. But for the sake of this, we're going to make it very simple so that we can walk through each concept. So at the point here, we know we now want to move on to the meme top line. Slack is working exactly the way we want. But the problem is we don't want to have to train it what dog meme is. We don't have to train it what Velociraptor meme is, or the hipster meme. So we're going to actually take each of these and we're going to create something in API AI called an entity. And an entity is essentially, it's an object. So you could create an entity for sodas and you could put Pepsi, Coke, Sprite, all sorts of different things. We're actually just going to create an entity called meme. Makes the most sense, but we're going to call it dog, and we can say dog, and we can say four-legged creature. All sort of synonyms for each one of these. We can go Velociraptor. Well, we don't want to do that there. A Velociraptor, green dinosaur, dinosaur. And then we're going to do, the last one we had earlier was the hipster barista. Hipster barista coffee man. And what this is going to do is it's going to automatically now assume a lot of these terms and bring them back to those exact things. If you think about it, now your dog is going to say anything that matches dog, four-legged creature is going to reference back to dog. So I'll show you how that works. Automated expansion's really cool, really terrible in our instance because it's going to try and learn its own entities, and we have our certain entities that we want to train it on. Now, keep in mind, this is API driven. In my final example, I actually used meme generator's actual API in the backend, and it forced all of the API or all of the actual entities. So there's like hundreds of thousands of actual memes in my final project. But inside of here, what we want to do is we want to come in, we say, hey, Doge, what is Doge? Doge's a meme. So now it's not looking for Doge meme, it's looking for anything that matches that entity and then the word meme. Or, hey, I want a Velociraptor meme. No, I want a meme. Barista meme, I want a meme. Doge meme, I want a meme. Great support, guys. What I'm going to do is actually name my variables so that they make a little bit more sense in my code. In my actual packaged code together, it stores all the variables in one thing, so at the end we can actually generate it, which is cool. So you could have different things, though. You can imagine, you know, if in the example it says, like, I would like to order a pizza with pepperoni. I would like to order an extra large pizza with pepperoni. You could have different entities in here. You don't have to have one. So you could have extra large as an entity for size, pepperoni as a topping, pizzas or calzones is the actual object as another entity. So in one phrase, you could have up to 10 different entities. It's not required for one. For the simplicity of moving forward, we're going to stick to one. So at this point now, we actually have captured what it is. So we're actually capturing the entities. So we can continue to do things. So what I would love, I've already got that. Well, you get the idea. I'm not going to keep training it a ton of things. But it's capturing this entity now. So you could actually come down here if you wanted and send the word meme type across. You can actually start using these parameters in your responses, which are really cool. So I should be able to say, I would like a meme. What kind of meme would you like? I would like a Doge meme. And you should actually be able to send back Doge. So now Doge is a variable in Node. And it's a variable I can interact with. So now we've taken, I would like a Doge meme, and I have the variable that I want. So I could say this in 1,000 different ways, but I'm able to get the elements that I want into executable script, which is a programmer. That's really cool. So I don't have to be a genius. I can just follow along. Now, we need to get the top line. We need to get the bottom line. So let's go ahead and do that. And these are very simple because the top line and bottom line are just any text that you want to put. So we are sending it to the meme top line. I want to do meme top line up here. So on the input context, we're going to make it 0 so it moves on, and we're going to go meme bottom line. We're going to type the word any in here. We're going to look for the context of sys any. It's going to warn me that I shouldn't do it, and I'm going to ignore it. The reason for that is because it doesn't want you looking for anything. It wants you creating fallback intents. But for the element here, there is no fallback intent. It is always just what I want. And then I'm going to say, okay, cool. What's the bottom line? Neat. Our bot is cool now, or cool. Moving forward, we're going to move, and I want to actually rename this intent, what I forgot to do. You don't have to rename it, but it makes it a lot easier to actually manage. So we're going to save that. We're going to create one more line called meme bottom line. We're going to say any, once again, capture it, any. It's going to tell me no. I'm going to tell it yes. We're going to say awesome, generating your meme now. So now I should be able, I've got these 4 intents, the start, the type, the top, the bottom line. That's all we need for a meme. You could make this extrapolate into a million things. You could have size. Inside these actual entities are really cool. The packaged product has lots of things: airports, ordinals, geocapitals, states, addresses, colors, everything you could ever imagine. So you don't have to build those entities. So if you were wanting to say, with my meme, I'd like to ship it to 555 North Street, I could actually have that North Street as part of the address. It can automatically identify that stuff without me having to make the intelligence. So that's a cool part. So at this point, without having, we'll restart the code. Didn't really need to, just want to make sure it was running. Hey, I want a meme. I want a Doge meme. Hey, just for the sake of it. Now it knows that, now it has all these elements. And what we're going to do is actually, in the next part, at this point, it will generate the meme once we move into the further steps of the code. We're going to move into step 6 of our actual code. I'm really glad I didn't write this on the fly. We can see that there's a couple things I've added. I'm actually storing what's happening per intent. meaning I'm getting all that content we saw earlier with the score percentage and the fulfillment text. I'm storing that for data to use later, just in case I want it. And I'm also storing all of these parameters. So every parameter I get back, which would be meme type, meme top line, meme bottom line, I'm getting them. I didn't actually do that. I just realized that. Meme bottom line is the parameter name. And then in the meme top line, we're going to call that meme top line. So now I actually get all the cool elements. So I did generate a function for generate meme. This has the meme generator that I'm using. It's a pretty neat, easy to use meme generator. But we should see that at this point, it's going to do a switch case on the intent and actually try to identify what intent you're at. If it's at start meme, it's going to clear all the user history because it doesn't want all that junk that you had earlier. And then if it's a meme bottom line, meaning we're at the bottom line and we've got our content, it's going to actually generate the meme with the data. So if I fire up node step6.js, we should say, hey, I want a meme. Let's see if he's actually, we're getting some content down here. No. Okay, dog meme. Hey. We now have all this data. So we can see meme start, meme type, meme top line, meme bottom line. You can see the parameters that were sent. So what this means for you is now you can create a meme. Really cool stuff. I actually am using meme generator here. And I'm going to have to go in here and insert these username and passwords. So let me go do that. I'm really blown away that this is going to work, and you'll see why I say. They just left it open. I just sniffed a little bit of their code and it was super simple. They just had general username and password they have for their examples. Or actually, it's right. Oh, variables. We're going to do username is test8, no joke. And password is, anybody can guess? Test8! It's super simple. That is literally their wide open code. So whatever. They must just not really care. But if I say the same things, I want a new meme. Dog meme. Just so we can fly through this. Awesome, generating your meme now. Did we run the right step? Was I missing a comma? It ran. I mean, yeah. Why is not a command? Oh, because I pulled out the line in step 6. Ship it. It's done. MVP. Now we should be able to actually run step 6.js. That's why I also put that there. Hey, I want a meme. Let's make a dog meme. Hey. Now you're going to see a better error. This is the error we want to see. The input string is in a non-correct format. That means it doesn't expect generator ID right here to be Doge. It expects it to be an ID that is used with the meme generator. Now I have a cool little hack curl script somewhere here. By the way, this is a doc that everybody's going to get at the end to run through. But this neat little thing will actually curl it. I don't know if I'll do this. Curl. Type it out to Python and something here. There's a cool little history grep. So we can actually just not have to remember. This will actually, if we had a Chewbacca meme, Brad, this will actually pump it out into a cool little readable format so you can see that everything has its own generator IDs. Now, for the sake of this, if I wanted the Velociraptor, I could come into here and go, well, we'll do Doge just because it's a little easier. I can now run it. Get the Doge ID, 245, blah, blah, blah. Now, what we do have is in our entities we were at earlier, we can come in here, instead of it being a Doge, it can be that ID. So now it's actually going to get the correct information. I don't know, that does not need to be there. I do have each individual ID here to save a lot of effort. Velociraptor is the 17th meme ever created on that website. And Hipster Barista is 147,400 into the 26th meme. I don't know why Doge took so long. I really like that meme, as you can tell. But moving into it now, if we come back into our code, we actually can run step 6 again, and you're going to see some better stuff. Hey, oh, I want, hey, yes.
So if you're going to have the bot echo back to the user, make sure what they wanted. In that case, they're going to echo back the number, right?
So yes, that is where your code would have to translate those IDs back. And the intent that you go, hey, are you sure you want a Doge meme or something like that is what you're saying? Yeah, you in the respond, I'm literally taking the response from AI.ai or API.ai, but you could respond with anything. You could respond with any text that you want. You could do an interpreter that looks for a set of IDs and replaces it with the actual text that you're wanting. So if you had a full streamlined API system, then you could do something really cool. For the sakes of intent, we're not going to echo it back. We're just going to use it programmatically in the script. Is that good?
Right, yeah, so you just catch it in the program.
Yeah, and then you would look for those IDs that might be there and replace them with the actual text Doge or something like that. So right here, I've ran it. It actually successfully created. I've got the content that I want out of the response. I've got the instance image URL right here. So we are almost in the home run stretch on perfect timing here. I have step 7 now. Make sure I'm not skipping anything here. Nope, we're good to go. And we can see that step 7 is actually doing a fun response. It's actually taking the username, password, sending the meme type, which since we changed that entity to the ID, the meme type is actually now the generator ID that the system needs. The top line, the bottom line, we're doing a request out to it, making sure the response is 200 OK. JSON parsing the body. And then here's a list. I include all my comments, anything that you can do. There's like a million comments with URLs that have tons of information. But these parameters that we're going to send along, we're going to do title, your meme, sir. The image URL is the image URL from the meme generator. And then a couple other things. There's like 1,000 different things you can do there, but this was the simplest. So now, grand finale. We could say node. I can say, hey, meme bot, I want a meme. He's going to say, that's, hey, I want a meme. All right, I want a hipster meme. I was into AI, it was intelligent. And now, if everything works the way that we would like, here is our meme. That is exactly what we wanted to see. So, like I said, you can now do it with all sort of different types of meme. I could go, I want a new meme, Doge, and it's going to just skip to it. So that's part of the training process. I was into AI, Doge. Actually, that's pretty good. Yeah. The reason it didn't do that, by the way, is because I did not have it in the correct context, and it was always reading for any information. That's why we're getting a lot of repetition. But I could do, for instance, now we could restart it. Hey, I want a new meme, Doge meme. And see, it's. By the way, it has a lifespan of 5. So let's just spam filter him out. All right, a meme. I want a Doge meme. Very artificial, much intelligence. And now we will get a Doge meme back. Awesome. So it's doing exactly what we want. So like I said, it's all AI driven. So I could come to these entities and preload these entities with all the meme generator. Meme generator, there's a ton of APIs that you can do. What I'll do real quick is just kind of walk you through the advanced one that I built that has a lot more actual prompts. There is one that, for instance, you could start with the type. So you can say, let's start a Doge meme, or let's start a Velociraptor meme. That skips the first step and goes straight to the top line. And we contain the exact action information. The fallback intent, which I think was asked over here, this is something that just checks for any. So if you go meme type and you don't give it an actual type that you want, it will actually come in here and say, we may not support that kind of meme. What would it be another one that you would like? There's all sort of different things. I think I have a meme type exit, meaning if you say any of the ending terms, it will actually say, no problem. It'll knock you out of all your contexts, and it goes back to the beginning. So there's a lot of really cool things that MemeBot can actually do. There's a few challenges out there that I have. I'm interested to see if people can do, like create the full thing that I've got up there. But in my GitHub, and do not judge my GitHub because we created one just for the sake of this presentation. I have all my other stuff on another one, but I have a README that will walk you through it. MemeBot v3 is actually the export from API.ai that you can import, which will have all of the actual API construction. I have all the different steps that are here. and I have a sweet little doc that will run you through everything that I'm actually looking through. So it's all the code, all the lines, every single element of everything. I spent all night writing this, so somebody at least download it once, of everything that is there. So with that, I think we're pretty perfect on time as far as that goes. That leaves us 5 minutes. If anybody has any other questions or any other like comments on the node, whether it was terrible or not, or yes.
Yeah, it wasn't
Thank you.
terrible. What are the little numbers in the context mean?
The little number.
Yeah, like to the left of the context name, there's a 5 each,
Yeah.
0.
So those are the IDs that meme generator uses for their generator ID element. So instead of the word Doge, we wanted the ID to be set.
Sorry,
Oh.
sorry. Like when you're choosing like the input context and the output context, there's like
Oh.
a number to the left of it.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
So the 5. So let's pull this up. Let's do meme top line. So this means we've already got the type. Now let's do meme type because it makes a little bit more better sense, type gather. So at this point, there's context. What that is it's stepping you in. You know that part, sorry. The 5 is going to be what's called lifespan. That means that it will look for 5 failed requests before it leaves that context. So you could have 1,000 if you wanted it to basically never leave. You could have 1. So for instance, if you were looking for a response and it failed, it wouldn't keep asking it over and over and over. Because you can do branching on the context. You can have multiple contexts. You can do logic with the contexts. So there's a lot of complex things. So you can do really some advanced programming and chat with these contexts. And it does a lot of cool stuff as far as that goes. So the lifespan just helps you kind of control that.
So if it said it's any, it's never going to fail.
Correct. You could do a lifespan of 1, for instance, because it will never fail at that point. It just checks for any text whatsoever. Now, there is a cool thing that if you saw my intents, there were some different colors here. So I could have the meme type gather, which means it's currently at a high priority. You can come into here and actually set its priority. So you could say this is the highest, so match all this stuff, and then you could have an any match that's a lower priority, that's an exit. So it doesn't actually hit the any first, it'll hit the I want a Doge meme first. So you can prioritize it with that type of stuff.
When you have the at meme in there, it's going to match on any of the words that it knows
Yeah.
are associated with that type.
So if you click and you see that that's the app meme, that's actually, in this example, it's not good because it doesn't make as much sense. We'll go back into my code that we just wrote, V6 or V5 or I don't know. Meme type, this Doge meme, you can see I click in it and it's app meme. That's actually referencing this app meme entity over here. So the idea of the entity is, once again, earlier my example of you could create soda pop and you could look for Coke, Pepsi, Sprite, any of those information. So that's actually what that's referencing. And to set those up, like I said, there's a ton of stuff. So if I wanted to say, let's make a flosser after meme and send it to 555 West Street, you could actually select 555 West Street, do another thing, call it address, street address, and you can have actual multiple meme or multiple entities per conversation line. And there's times where you can actually get just this, and maybe the other entities aren't looking for that. So you can have one thing, and I think they do a really good example on their website that's certainly worth looking. It's not as fun in my opinion, but there's a start guide that will walk you through, get started in 5 easy steps. To give you an example, they make a creation of pizza, and they do all the different like deep dish, and they do all these different things over here. And then when you order pizza, I'd like a 4-cheese pizza, or I'd like a small margarita pizza, and send it to 438 10 Easton Avenue. So you can match on multiple entities. And if you only matched on 2, for instance, you could send it to a different context that now looks for the address. So if you know you have a small margarita, but you don't know the address, you could send it to the context, need address. Then that context would actually interpret the address and continue on. Did that help? Did that answer? Perfect. Anything else?
So I'm curious, the context that it's in, is that global or is that per user? Like, it's in your Slack example.
Yeah. So in this line right here, the thing that makes it per user is they actually accept session IDs when you send your requests. And where is it? It is somewhere here. Oh, it's right here, session ID. And I'm actually using the Slack ID as a session ID. So it would be individual for Slack, but you could create an application where everybody could collaborate and actually talk the entire time together and create a whole conversation. Anything else?
What was the GitHub URL?
It is GitHub, and then it's John Harden. John Harden, JOHN, and then / memebot. Yes.
Do you actually use Nano?
Huh?
Do you actually use Nano?
It was simple for this, but shamefully, yes. It's I know, like burn me at the stake, but
I'm gonna respect you.
I mean, I can fly through the code with Nano, pretty simple. So I can use Nano instead of them. I'm a superhero in my own right. Yep. Yeah, I understand. I get it. Plenty of jokes. I hear it all the time. Don't worry. Yeah, I am special, but that makes me awesome. So, anything else? Any other?
What's the real question?
I don't actually use that feature. Not in Nano. I don't write my code typically in Nano. I catted the file, and then I actually just was highlighting. Is that? Oh yeah, on the Ubuntu that I've got with Nano, it actually does the text actual highlighting and things like that. Yeah, I got you now. Syntax. All right, sorry. Yeah, and in the distribution of Ubuntu I typically deploy with, it does have that already. I think I saw a hand right here.
Yeah. I was going to ask, this file you just created, can it be broken? And what would you do to like prevent it from somebody typing in like some words?
Absolutely. It cannot be broken, but it can hit a non-match. So for instance, if I go node step7.js and I expected, let's make sure he's not, okay, he's not expecting, I expected this to work. I expected that to be like a match for meme for some reason. You actually can go back into your API AI, go into the training section. You come into here, you can see all the things that said. It's typically, and the cool thing is actually these will do a webhook out. So when there's a failure, you can webhook an email, you can webhook something to your own application, but you can come down here and then say, hey, I want this to be a meme start. And then you train it, and now it will start looking for, and then it will know that that means I want to start a meme. So it's a training process. It's not going to automatically be the smartest thing in the world, but as you mature it, it will start to become pretty intelligent. Yes.
If you said, okay, approve that, but then later on you undid it, would it have to retrain itself across everything other than that?
Yeah. It would, if I came in here and chose to ignore the praise and I approve, typically my bot's pretty lightweight, but I've got some that are pretty strong. It'll take 2, 5, 10 minutes to retrain itself. So there is a retraining phase the larger your library gets, but it's pretty quick.
Is that a retraining with you throwing more stuff at it, or kind of like clear the database, clear it out?
So it tries to train itself. So for instance, earlier when I was hitting false positives on things I didn't want it to, I could go in there and tell it, no, that wasn't the right thing. For instance, when I stress tested in my engineering team and I saw all the ways they were breaking it, I could have gone back and taught it all these things like, no, this isn't an entity, or no, this isn't an intent, ignore this text. And then it would automatically train it. And it does do a lot of adaptive stuff. The more content you add to it, the smarter it gets. So as you go on, and a real interaction, we're just doing a meme, but if you imagine interactions with customer support, asking how do I support this part of the website, then it starts to get really intelligent on how those things can be said. It starts to identify typos and ignore typos. Yeah, it does get pretty intelligent as it moves forward. Now, entity typos, since we came in here and chose not to enable automated expansion, it's not going to do entity typos, but you can actually do that. For our sake, it gets very dangerous because it starts trying to create its own entities. We don't have the IDs that match it, so it doesn't follow. But if I allowed automated expansion, I said I wanted a Chewbacca meme, it would actually add Chewbacca as an automated expansion. It would start to see, hey, this might be an intent that might be an entity that I'm trying to match. So it'll start to do that, and it'll start training like Doge and Dog and DOGEE or something like that. It might automatically expand, but we disable that for the demo for today.
So it kind of was that's my initial question about the fallback intent.
Yeah.
Can you use like the follow-up question to reinforce the initial question? So that those typos would like add itself to the original.
Yeah, so you could, I mean, you couldn't, I'm sure you could create an intent that, or an entity that matches for typos. If you were doing a very high scale, very enterprise level actual application, you probably would want to assume for typos and train it to handle typos and then reference it back in the intent. So you certainly could. It would be a very high learning curve and a lot of hours involved in training and tweaking, but there's no reason you couldn't. Did that answer what you were after, or?
It's okay then.
Okay.
It seems like you could probably do an API call. Yeah. Seemingly not within their interface or whatever, but you could probably do another API call to API method, which seems dangerous because then the world's your developers breaking it to do the wrong thing.
Yeah, every single part of their project can be.
It would be fun.
Well, I mean, imagine you want to build your own application that you could train, and maybe you want to turn it over to clients, but you don't want to expose API.ai. And maybe you want to sell your own chatbot, then they could come in there and you could use these APIs to actually create your own project that you could resell to a client.
So there was a confidence level that you had set
Mhm.
for matching. Are you able to have multiple fallbacks? Like say if it's 50%, I want to assume it's right. If it's 30%, I want to ask, is this what you meant?
Mhm.
If it's 0, I just want to say, I don't have any idea what you said.
Absolutely. So per bot or per each one of these entire agents is what they're called. The threshold level that we have set is 0.2. Now, there is no element inside of API.ai that says, hey, at a 0.5, let's do this, or at a 0.2, let's do that. Now, you do get the actual confidence levels as a result in your JSON response. So there's nothing stopping you from actually creating your own intent handlers. There's nothing forcing you to use the text responses within API.ai either. You could create your own complete responses. You could switch case out of every intent and identify what's going on and actually kind of do something like that. So it'd be a little bit more custom, but probably not something API.ai does out of the box. But it does sound like a good request. Does that make that we're good? Okay. Anything else? This guy.
So you add this to your team Slack, whatever?
Yes, it was a terrible idea.
Your superiors voted you or recommended you? I can't tell.
The superiors were not in the chat. Does that answer your question? That is in the engineering shenanigans channel that is private. So I would never unleash that hell upon the company. No, that's a terrible idea.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, I have one last little self-promotion. We are hiring like 3 different engineers. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but junior, mid, and senior. So if you are looking or anything like that, reach out to me. Also, I'm going to pick up this laptop here real quick. Inside this box is like, here, I'll move that for you. An insane amount of these documents. So I need to go make a donation, plant a tree, something like that. But if you are interested in a job, there's my card on each one of these documents. If you want to go back and take this, feel free to grab the document. It's up here. I might love you to, because then it means I didn't print them for no reason. So thank you.
All right, sir. You can hang out afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely.
Afterwards. So
Going over the Psalms.
Any questions that we didn't get to, you're up for that, and then I'm going to work with him on AI stuff a little bit.
Oh yeah, so I didn't even tell you what we do. We are in the unified communication space, and actually some of our upcoming projects will entail some of that stuff. So.